While there's so many things to talk about in the crypto and NFT space, one is definitely going to make history this week, and that is a stablecoin, UST, that is supposed to be pegged to the dollar, dropped over 50%. This is a much bigger deal than a lot of people understand, and I think that this could affect the future of crypto regulation. For those of you that do not know what a stablecoin is, it's supposed to be a token that is pegged to the dollar. That way, when people make their profits or lose profits, or whatever they do with their money that is in other altcoins, they can then roll it over to these stable coins, knowing that it's not going to waver away from the dollar. Most of these stable coins will also give you a slight APY. Usually it's around like 5 to 8%, whereas this one this week that dropped 52% promised like a 20% APY. So what happened? There is a large sum of money involved with UST. This is why I think that it's going to affect things on a larger scale. I know somebody on my feed, he's an influencer, he had 7 figures in UST that he pulled out when it just had a 3% drop, much less a 50% drop. And one of his bases for pulling out was this tweet. And I think that this is the first red flag that we got. So before going into this video, definitely if you like this type of content, be sure to like the video for the YouTube algorithms and subscribe to the channel. So let's look at this. If you've been involved with crypto and NFTs at all, you'll know that devs are extremely important. You want some level of professionalism. You do want them to be docs, yada, yada, yada. Well, seeing a tweet like this come from the dev is just heartbreaking. And this was May 7th. This is when it was still like maybe a couple percent off. He says, "I'm up, amusing morning. Annan, you could listen to influencers," and he spells it like that on purpose, "about UST depegging for the 69th time." So depegging refers to it no longer being pegged to the US dollar. Or you could remember, they're all poor and go for a run instead. So there's the founder just taking shots at influencers saying, all right, you know, they're letting you know that it's depegging, but they're just full of it. So people have been warning the founder that this system was not going to work for a very long time, and I'll get into that later in the video. But basically, this was pegged to Bitcoin, or this is backed by Bitcoin, not by the dollar. So there's other stable coins like USD that is actually backed by a bank account of US dollars. So it's 1-to-1 of a dollar. When you peg something that moves quite volatile like Bitcoin, it's probably not going to work. He goes on and says, "By the way, if y'all girls are gonna FUD, try to do it during my walking hours, please. Terra Chain is 24/7, but I'm new, for crying out loud." So again, just being a punk, and that's the last thing I want somebody who I am trusting my money with to be a punk on social media. So as this is still unfolding and brand new, I can't 100% promise that Citadel is behind this, although it's crazy because I got screwed by Citadel in the GME movement like 2 years ago. So I completely believe they would do something like this. Regardless, this is basically what happened. Someone borrows 100K BTC, trades a fourth of it, so 25K. I'm not talking about 25K of BTC. I'm talking about 25K BTC for UST, which is this stable coin. Opens up a short and then starts dumping 75K BTC aggressively. Once BTC has reached 30K, they start dumping UST to make it lose its peg. So basically, they borrow this large amount. Now Quan is forced to sell 25K BTC at a major loss to recover the peg, further dumping the price of BTC. Meanwhile, someone is shorting all the way. So from my understanding, in short, this is what happens when you have a large amount dumped at the same time, and then the price of BTC drops pretty dramatically at the same time that Quan needs to sell it back at a major loss. So this is a problem, again, with pegging to something that's highly aggressive because you're not really a stable coin at that point. You're kind of banking on Bitcoin to be balanced, and this was an easy exploit in the system that somebody found. It's hard to tell this in crypto because sometimes things are awesome, but ultimately a lot of times I stick with this in life. If things seem too good to be true, they probably are. And when you take a stable coin and you get a 20% yield off of that stable coin, and it's backed by something like BTC, it just doesn't sound like it's going to be sustainable, and it sounds like that there's going to be an exploit. And that's what people have been warning this company, and they've been warning everyone for the last 6 months. Unfortunately, it all unfolded very heavily over the past few days. This ultimately led from Luna being priced at $70 per token at the time of that sarcastic tweet that I put at the beginning of the video to actually hitting 9 cents today. Right now, it is on the rise slightly. I think it's bumped back up to around $3. However, I mean, you've seen a dramatic decrease over the past few days because of all this. Meanwhile, UST, which is what we've been talking about the whole time, supposedly the stable coin, has went from being, 1 to 1 to $1, kind of hasn't wavered a whole lot. It dropped all the way as low as 0.3, 70% loss on an apparent stable coin, bounced up, bounced down almost to 0.3 again, and is kind of recovering at 0.47. But the fact that I even have to use the words recovering and stablecoin in the same sentence, it really throws things off. Overall, this is going to be a really big deal, as I stated at the beginning of this video, for crypto. However, the problem in this isn't what I imagine that major news articles are going to paint this as. What I see in the upcoming days and weeks is people are just going to say, oh, a stablecoin lost its value, crypto's a scam, we told you so. This is the reason that UST didn't work. This was somebody trying to do something very different. There was some Ponzi scheme involved. I'm not going to say the whole thing was a Ponzi, but again, 20% APY was insane. Ultimately, I'm not trying to offend anyone who was in UST and in Luna. Like, obviously there's some very smart people out there that were in both, and I'm very sorry that this is happening right now and that this happened. There are better stable coins out there. Again, the news isn't going to talk about that. There are stable coins that are pinned to the dollar, that have a bank account having $1 per one token, that you can trust. They have much smaller APYs. But ultimately, this is a hard week for crypto. We'll see how it plays out. Let me know what you think down below in the comments, and I will see you guys next time. Peace out.